Deep within the heart of Berlin's Kreuzberg district lies a little neighborhood that wasn't destroyed by the war. And thanks to this, well, it still hides a lot of secrets. Little neighborhood bars and speakeasies, outstanding restaurants, small ones with short menus but lots of soul. Underground Nazi film bunkers, Victorian squares, and 19th century crypts. Even a Nazi treasure buried inside the Kreuzberg mountain. And due to its classical charm, you may think that this neighborhood has succumbed to the ravages of the mainstream. But no, as soon as you start digging just a little deeper, you start discovering all these beautiful things here. So join me, if you're ready, as I show you the hidden gems of the Bergmannkiez in Berlin, Kreuzberg. Before you enter the neighborhood or before you exit, a visit to the Tempelhof airfield is a must for many reasons. It's the reason the Bergmannkiez wasn't destroyed. A massive airport that the Nazis built and the Americans needed. So the area wasn't bombed. The original airport was built in the 1920s and then the Nazis took over and made some little modifications. The building is wide. Very wide. In fact, it's one of the widest in Europe. What more, it has an even more impressive underground complex. The Nazis used it for a lot of secret Nazi. In the pre-war era, when Germany was prohibited from having an army, they conducted covert flyover missions to film and photograph the infrastructure of neighboring countries. Now, to process and store all this film material, a massive underground bunker was constructed in 1938. Strangely, the archive mysteriously caught fire after the war. And if you know anything about nitrate film and fire, in fact, the fire reached temperatures of up to 1,200 degrees Celsius. You can explore this bunker and a lot of other fascinating things on the Tempelhof underground tours. Also, the CIA established a secret command center in this airport that you can also visit on these tours. And the link is in the description below. Now, the airport ceased operations in 2008, and it was transformed into Tempelhofer Feld, a public park preserving its historic runways and hangars for recreation. It's a great place to go hang out with friends, grill, skateboard, wind skate, or whatever other recreational activities you like to do. Also, the name Tempelhof has medieval roots tracing back to the Knights of Templar, who settled in the area during the 13th century. Fun fact, in your face. If the Victoria Park that we covered in a previous video is the head of the neighborhood, from where we can see all its surroundings, and the Heineken Markthalle is the belly, which supplies the food, then the heart of the neighborhood is undeniably the Camisoplatz. This charming and green 19th century square is unrivaled in beauty and charm. It's encircled by impeccably maintained neo-Baroque facades and still features old gas lanterns and water fountains. Film crews often use it to recreate different time periods. During the 70s and 80s, the Camisoplatz was a hub for students and artists who lived in the occupied houses that encircled the square. A lot of them were unfortunately driven out due to private investments and rising rent. Despite this, the Camisoplatz is still a very local place where a lot of people like to come to escape the bustling crowds of the Bergmannstraße. Cafes and restaurants line the cobblestone streets, offering excellent drinks and food with a backdrop that can take you back centuries. When in Germany, you should get a Brezel. Make sure to pack one for the road to enjoy at the places you plan to explore later. Do you like good records? Do you like Neapolitan pizza? If so, you're gonna love Fratelli La Bionda. If not, go elsewhere. In a city with more Italian restaurants than pasta shapes in Italy, this particular one distinguishes itself through its soulful ambience and fresh cuisine. The pizza dough, crafted in-house, is exceptional, resulting in pizzas that defy perfect roundness. I would also go discover some vegan Vietnamese cuisine tucked away in this inner courtyard off the Bergmannstraße. It's called Good Morning Vietnam, And I don't endorse this place solely because it's vegan. I recommend it because the flavors are delicious, regardless of your dietary preferences. On a quieter note, I would recommend taking a leisurely stroll in one of Berlin's oldest cemeteries. In German, the word cemetery is Friedhof, which literally translates to peace yard. You see, in Germany, it's common to go take walks in cemeteries as they offer little havens of tranquility. The one here in the Bergmannkiez is especially beautiful. You'll encounter beautiful old crypts and monuments belonging to those who walked this neighborhood before us. In the cemetery, there's the next place I recommend you check out, which is Café Strauss. They roast their own coffee in-house and offer a delightful array of cakes to savor in this serene and historic setting. Don't get stressed, get Straussed. I have a fondness for places that specialize in a single dish, because you can rest assured that they're gonna do it right. And Goulasch perfectly embodies this concept. If you've never tried goulash, this is the perfect spot to try it. If you've already had goulash, this is also the perfect place to go try it again. They offer various versions of this classic Austro-Hungarian dish, typically featuring beef, game, and also vegetarian options, all served with typical German sides. It's nestled on a charming corner at Camisoplatz 1. And make sure to reserve in advance because this little restaurant only has 2 tables and is very cherished by locals who consider it a hidden gem. The final restaurant on this list is called Nonne und Zwerg, and it certainly mustn't be overlooked. It left a lasting impression on me. In case you're looking to forget the fact that you're actually way up in northeastern Europe, this is the place. The Mediterranean cuisine here is remarkably fresh, with a meticulous attention to detail. The food here is truly exquisite. Try it, you won't regret it. Alright, all this exploring and eating deserves a drink. Let's start with the HQ of punk and rock and roll in Berlin, Clash Bar. It's hidden in the back of an inner courtyard, and the music here ranges from tracks by more recent underground punk bands to classics to surf and rock and roll. Here you can down cheap beer, play some flipper, go moshing, or even play my most hated game in the world, foosball. It can get quite busy, especially when there's parties or live events which regularly take place here. And try the Mord und Totschlag, which literally translates to like murder and manslaughter. Anyway, it's a really good dark beer that follows a medieval recipe and it's made in a monastery brewery. By the way, your clothes are gonna reek of cigarette smoke when you get out of this place, but that's just part of the experience. A few years back, the Kreuzberg bar captain, Dominique Galanda, bought the iconic Haifisch bar. It pulls off the tricky feat of mixing top-notch highballs, fancy wines, and craft beers while still keeping that laid-back vibe you'd expect from a local hangout. Authenticity, honesty, and high-quality cocktail craftsmanship. And sometimes there's even special events like my personal favorite, Tiki Night. Cheers. Also, your friendly neighborhood bar, Underground, Ernst Bar. It's the place where locals gather for a casual drink in the evening. Nestled away in a half basement, it's dimly lit with good drinks. Sometimes it gets wild, sometimes it's intimate and quiet, you never know, the vibe is always different. What's for sure is that the prices are cheap and the people are real, everything that matters. Weinverein am Berg. This wine bar is down to earth with no pretentiousness. It radiates a charming and rustic atmosphere filled with locals. The staff is helpful and make you feel like you're at your home corner pub rather than in a wine bar. Ideal for discovering some crisp German wines like Rieslings and Müller-Thurgau, and you can pair them with some good cheese and meat platters, Flammkuchen and sourdough bread. For wine enthusiasts who prefer theirs without the theatrics, this is the spot. And now's the time to uncover the hidden treasure that I promised you in the beginning. You may know from the previous video that Napoleonic troops were kicked out of Berlin, and in that honor they built this giant monument atop of the Kreuzberg hill. But check out this painting from when they built it. Now compare it to a picture taken just a few years later. Something's off. It's way higher on a big stone base. Now, as it turns out, they figured the view was getting blocked by nearby buildings and trees, so they hoisted it up 8 meters. But hold on, it gets crazier than this. In the back of this picture, buried within an excessively elaborate sentence,
weil sich die Bebauung ringsum ausdehnte und das Monument seine auf der Landschaft herausragende Stellung mehr und mehr einbüßte, wurde es 1878 8 Meter gehoben, auf einen von Johann Heinrich Strack entworfenen Unterbau gestellt und dabei um 21 Grad gedreht.
There's a mention of a certain Unterbau, an understructure. Pause for a second. An understructure? I decided to go investigate. After years of passing by this monument and hanging out on top of it, it never dawned on me that it's actually hollow. There's something concealed inside here. But what? Well, there's a door in the back, though predictably it's locked. So I went and did a little bit of research. And here's where the story takes a wild turn. Believe it or not, there's a Nazi treasure hidden inside there. And I don't mean a figurative treasure or metaphorical treasure. I mean an actual Nazi treasure. So inside, underneath the Victory Monument, there's this whole chapel-looking room housing not only a colony of bats, not only fine art pieces, but the heads of the horses of the quadriga. Yeah, the quadriga, that Roman chariot sculpture crowning the Brandenburg Gate, Germany's national monument. The quadriga, the same quadriga that was stolen by Napoleon and returned to Germany triumphantly. That same quadriga. As it turns out, the Nazis got worried about it getting wrecked in Allied bombings, so they made backup heads just in case. But that's not all. Apparently, there's also this underground air raid tunnel that leads all the way to the vast subterranean complex connected to the Nazi-built Tempelhof airport. Another fun fact in your face. I really sincerely hope you found this list helpful in discovering what I truly love about the Bergmannkiez. Let me know in the comment section below if you have your own secrets that you'd like to share with the world. In any case, wishing you all an adventure filled with discovery and excitement and a touch of the unexpected. Safe travels.